Hey fam, thank you so much for joining me here today on Life Inspired with Mo. So, you guys know this week we are talking about our mental, our physical, and our spiritual health. During this time of COVID, we need to really be checking in on ourselves and making sure we're taking care of ourselves. So, I have joining me today a friend of mine, Robin Campbell. Robin is with Arise Innovative Solutions, one of her companies that she has. And Robin is a licensed clinician for mental health. Robin has been studying and been in mental health arena now for 20 plus years. So she has lots of help for us, and she'll be able to answer a few questions for us and kind of help guide us through some good innovative solutions for keeping ourselves strong mentally. So, Robin, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes, so excited to have you here. So, Robin, I'm just going to jump right in with a few questions for us to talk about and just help maybe help people who don't know a lot about mental health, never thought about their mental health or self care plan to keep ourselves healthy. So, tell me more about Arise, Robin, and what kind of inspired you to create Arise Innovative Solutions?
Well, I was inspired in particularly because I know that mental health is very important. Oftentimes, we neglect our mental health. I like to use the example that if you had a broken leg, you would go to your orthopedic doctor and get your cast or your boot, right?
Absolutely.
Oftentimes, with mental health, people tend to not make it a priority because it's not always something that you can see.
Yeah.
So, my motivation in starting Arise was really to educate people about mental health awareness and to
Hmm.
also educate people about self care and how important self care is.
Absolutely. Yeah, because that's a good point that you brought up, Robin, because sometimes when it's not a physical hurt, oh, I can't feel something, I can't see something, nothing's there, nothing's broken. And mentally we just take on a lot. So I think we need to, even post COVID, I think we need to think about what is our mental health care plan, for ourselves, our self care plan, because we're always looking at our body saying, oh, I gained 5 pounds. I need to go jog or I need to do this. So just making sure that we don't save that for last, that we think about that and put that in part of our entire plan of self-care for ourselves. So thank you
Exactly.
for sharing that with us. So Robin, can you give us an example maybe of a start of a self-care plan? Maybe people aren't familiar with, I don't even know what to be doing to take care of myself mentally. I think I'm okay. What would you advise us, maybe the beginning of a self-care plan? How would we start that, and possibly what would that look like for us? I know
What
all
my
of us are
rec-
individuals, so it may be different, but maybe you have a start to helping us think about that.
Yes, with the self care plan, I often refer people to the SelfCare Wheel, and you can easily
Oh,
Google that. And
okay.
basically, what the self-care wheel, it consists of 6 components. I
Okay.
know oftentimes people think self-care is going to get a pedicure or taking a hot bubble bath, and it's so much more than that.
Yes.
So the self-care wheel really outlines different things or activities that you can do, and it consists of 6 areas:
Okay.
your physical health. And
Okay.
so that may mean like deciding to starting to walk 3 miles a day.
Okay.
Psychological, and under that component, you can think about perhaps getting therapy,
Mm-hmm.
journaling, things like that. The emotional health plan, and just
Mm-hmm.
really thinking about maybe creating some affirmations. And also,
Okay.
another component is professionally. How can you create self care in your professional? Because we know
Yeah.
oftentimes jobs can be kind of stressful, right?
Yes.
So, how
Yes.
can I create a self care plan professionally and also personally? What are some things personally, like maybe this could be where
Mm-hmm.
you could take time to get back to some of those hobbies and those things that you like to do? Like I
Yeah.
personally like to garden, so I'm going to plant,
Yeah.
some vegetables. And then the last
Awesome.
component is spiritual, which I think is one of the most important ones because
Yes.
it's really important to have a power higher than yourself. So whether that's worship, prayer, meditation, or what
Yeah.
have you. So my recommendation would be to go Google the self-care wheel and
Okay.
really look at different ways in each of those components that you can create your self-care plan. And I like to tell people that we need to make self-care a priority and not an
Absolutely.
afterthought. Mhm.
Absolutely. So, Robert, I'm glad that you actually told us about this self-care wheel. I mean, I really didn't even know it existed. It's something I think people could use as a start. Maybe people during COVID have lost their jobs and financially can't afford a therapist or a counselor to help them walk through these stages. So, like you were saying, you can begin to do these small things. Like, Robin, it doesn't cost anything to journal. You can have a
Right.
piece of paper at home, start journaling. It doesn't cost anything to sit and meditate or pray. So some of those things you can just begin to do at home. And I,
During COVID-19, people have really experienced so much from the social injustices, the
yes,
political climate, losing jobs, losing loved ones, and sometimes they
absolutely.
may be dealing with more serious mental health issues. So I always like to say, check at your job to see if you have an employee assistance program where you can get
That's
free
great.
sessions, right?
Yes,
So that's a place to start. Or you can always go to psychologytoday.com and put in your zip code, and it will bring up all the therapists in your area, and you can look at their bios and see what their specialty is. So if you're going
okay.
through mental health issues right now and it's a little bit more than you can bear and you're deteriorating and not able to function, I always encourage people to reach out for professional help. And using
Absolutely.
that analogy that we talked about earlier, treating your mental health like you would your physical health. If you had a
Yeah.
broken leg, you would go to the doctor and go see the orthopedic surgeon
Yes.
or what have you. So think about that when you think about your mental health.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Robin. And I just love how you just said, like, with people being laid off during COVID and actually thinking about programs. I know some people go, well, I don't want to go to HR and ask them about this program because they're going to think I'm crazy or something's wrong with me. No, they actually want a sound, healthy employee. They want a physically healthy employee, a mentally healthy, all of those things make you a better worker and employee
Yeah.
for them. So that's why those programs exist. So I would have no shame in asking about that assistance, especially people who are employed and have a job that has that assistance available to them. Self awareness, sometimes you don't have it.
Mhm.
And sometimes you need those loved ones to say, I don't know, but your demeanor has changed, or, and maybe you don't need to seek out a counselor. Maybe you can start with the will, like you said, Robin, and just do that self assessment, and start
Yeah, and I
a self
think
care
it's just
plan.
really important to remove the stigma that people often have, with mental health.
Yes.
And being that we as a people have been through a lot in 2020, statistics are saying that there are going to be more serious mental health issues in the next year because people are bottling this stuff up and keeping it in. So if you see that you are not doing well and deteriorating, go ahead and be proactive and get some help at the end, at the beginning, before you get into a crisis. Be
Yes.
proactive. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, that's
Hmm.
excellent advice, Robin. Being proactive. I know with me, I can be open and honest. I had a cousin that died in the early stages of
Hmm.
COVID
I'm
in
sorry.
March of this year. And not being able to go to a funeral, not being able to grieve along with your family. Um, not it was just a different process for me, and I really really had to talk to my husband about it, and talk to him about how I had to handle and process that, because I'm so used to being there and grieving and touching family and hugging and us reminiscing about stories of our loved ones and things like that, and it gives you that closure and you're able to move on. But with COVID, not being able to go to funerals, or the memorials or anything like that, it's very different.
It is. It
Yeah,
is. And the grief, what we need to understand too, a training that I did earlier today, is that we are all grieving the loss of normalcy.
Yeah. Oh my
So
gosh.
it doesn't have to really be the physical loss of a person, but we're
Yes,
grieving not going to graduations, weddings,
absolutely.
not being able to go to vacation, you know. So we're grieving right
Yes.
now in so many different ways.
When something is taken away from you and you didn't realize it, and it's like just you're thrust into it or it's removed. That's such a change, and COVID hit us like that. So,
Mhm,
yeah, grieving in other ways. I'm glad you brought that up. That's
mhm.
excellent.
Yes, we have to
Yeah,
agree. We have to really, and I like to say recalculating your GPS. You know, we've got
I
to
like that.
recalculate. Yes,
Yeah.
readjust to this new normal, quote unquote.
Yes,
But I think when you have support, it makes it so much better.
absolutely, absolutely. So, Robin, thank you so much. I know you are a busy lady. So, I really, on behalf of all my audience here at Life Inspired with Mo, I want to thank you so much for your time and just helping us to think out of the box about our self care plan, and that we should start making one today. Even if you look at just maybe one of the steps on the wheel, maybe just
Mhm.
starting with one. And I know I will be doing that, Robin, because I'm sure there's some small areas that I've neglected that I didn't realize on the wheel there that maybe I need to attend to. So I will be doing that. But thank you so much for me and my audience for joining me today and taking time out for this interview. I so appreciate you, Robin.
You are so
Robin,
welcome.
you
And
have an awesome day, sweetie.
you too.
Bye bye.
Using this self care wheel, courtesy of Olga Phoenix, begin creating your own self care plan today for your great mental health.